Hi everyone, welcome you all. So in this video, I'm going to show you some of important validations which we can perform on the REST API response. So the first thing, we'll see how we can verify our status code of the response and how we can log the response. And then we'll see how we can verify the single content in the response body. And then I'll show you how we can verify multiple contents in the response body. And finally, we'll see how we can set parameters and headers when you send the GET request. So to demonstrate this, I'm going to use different type of API request. So first of all, let's go to Eclipse. So here I'm going to create a new Java class. Let's go to new. Now specify a name of the test. Let's say demo 5 underscore. And here I'll just say a name. Basic validations and underscore, so demo 5 underscore basic validations. So here we are going to mainly focus on JSON response, right? So I'm say JSON. So demo 5 basic validations underscore JSON response. So let's click on the finish. Now I created a new class. So inside this, I'm going to perform different validations. Let me put them inside the class. So let it create a new class first of all. So once it is created, we can start writing our code. All right, so now it is created a new class under RestAssured test package. Let's wait for a few seconds. It is still trying to create a new class. All right, so now it is created a new class. Now what I'm going to do is, in this particular example, I'm going to demonstrate basic validations, like how we can test the status code, log response, single content, multiple content, and then we'll see how we can pass the parameters and headers as part of the GET request. So the first one is test the status code, how we can verify the status code of a response. So to demonstrate this, I'm just going to take one API request. Let me just put it here. So the first thing is I will create a method. Let's say public void. So I'm just giving the name as public void test status code. Okay, this is my just test engine method I created. So I specified this with @test annotation. Right. So in this particular test, I'm going to show you how we can verify the status code of a response. So as usual, first we need to write our keywords, BDD Framework keywords. The first keyword will be given. So inside this, we need to specify the prerequisites. And then inside the when we specify the request, what kind of request. And in the then section, we specify the validations. Now in the given session, so before using these particular keywords from the BDD framework, we need to import some static packages. So what is a static package which we need to import is this one. So these two static packages. Okay, so static iword restassured.star and hrmcrest.matcher. So these are the two packages which we need to import. So let me just import here. And then we can start using these keywords. So under given section, so I don't have any prerequisite for now. I'm just optional. I'm just leaving it as it is. Now under when section, so here we need to send a request. So I'm just sending the GET request. So I'll say dot get, and here I am using an API request. Let me show you this in my browser first of all. So when I pass this request, it will give you some information about this employee details. Let me just increase the font. So it will give you some user ID and title and their body. So when I say change here, instead of 2, I'll say 3 here. I path parameters 3 here, then it will give you third record. And similarly, when I say 5 here, it will give you fifth record and so on. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just sending this request as part of GET request. So here I'm specifying the request. And once you send this request, then we need to specify this GET request should be part of when section. And then we need to specify the validations. We need to add the validations as part of then section. So here, what is the validation I'm going to do is I want to verify the status code. So to verify the status code, I can simply write dot status code. And what is the status code I'm expecting should be 200 is my status code. And this is the last statement. So we need to end with the semicolon. So here, when you see here, given section is empty because I don't have any prerequisite to add under given section. So what we can do is we can also remove this particular part, right? And as soon as we started the first keyword, first keyword should not have any dot here. So we can start with the when itself. So instead of given keyword, we can directly start with the when keyword. Under when, we need to specify the what kind of request we are going to send, and then section we need to specify the validation point. So here I'm verifying the status code. So if you don't have any given section, then we can just remove the given keyword. Or if you still want to have the given, so you can still have it, but there is no use of given here. And but when you put the given keyword, and the second keyword should be start with the dot. And all these statements we can also include single line also. Suppose I want to write it, all the statements in the single line, we can also do that. So for example, let me just comment this statement. So I'll start from the given. So dot when and dot get, then followed by dot then and dot status code. Simple. So this is how we can just write a single statement. So this is a whole single statement, but when you're trying to understand this statement, little complex, so I've just split it into multiple parts. So given, so if you read this particular statement, it will be simple and readable manner, right? Given, when get, then status code should be this one. So it should be readable, very easily readable. So we can also write a single line of statement, or you can also write into multiple steps. Okay, so I'm just commenting this statement for now. I'm just enabling this. Now let us execute this particular statement. So given section is optional. So now when I execute this code, let me run as test-ng test. So now my test will execute, and the status code, if the status code is 200, then my test will pass. So now you can see my test is passed. So one test is run and one test is passed. Suppose here I don't see any status code, all these things, right? It is simply saying pass or fail. But suppose I want to display the what is the response I got it from this request. So we can add one more statement here under then section log.all. So this command will basically give you all the response and print that response in the console window. So this is a statement which we need to add to get all the logs from the response. So now when I execute this, it will give you detailed information about the response. When I run as a test-ng test, so this will exactly give you. So now it is started execution. So now we can see here my test is passed. It is saying pass, but along with this time we got some information, additional information. See this is a 200 okay is the status code, and along with this it is returned all the headers which we have get from this particular API response, and also the response body. So this is the response body, we also got it. So how we have got this information? So this particular information we got it by using this particular command .log.all. So this will give you the detailed information about your test or about the response, right? So now 200 is okay. So this is my status code, and my status code is also passed. So this is how we can verify the status code. And also if you want to display the response body in my console window, you can also display the status body by using .log.all. Okay, so this is the first validation we have done. So we have seen how to test a status code and log response. So now I'm going to show you something else. So for log response, I will show you a separate example. So let's see that. So now I'm going to create one more test, and I'll create multiple tests here inside the same class. So I'm just giving some priority here. So priority is equal to 1, because in test-ng, the test methods will execute based on the priority which we have given. So if I don't pass any priority, so by default we'll treat it as a 0 priority, and one method will execute. So now I'm going to write another test method to check the log response. So I want to just print the log response just like this, log.all. So for that I'm just creating one more test. So log response. The next one is log response. So to demonstrate this, I'm creating one more test method, that is public void test logging. Now inside this, again I'll specify the given keyword, And inside this given keyword, we need to have when keyword. Under this, we need to specify the type of request and dot then keyword. So inside this, we need to specify the validation. So 3 keywords I have written. So inside the given keyword, we don't have anything. So this is optional. And inside the when keyword, we need to specify the request. So here I'll say dot get. And here I'm going to execute one API. So let me show you this particular API. So this will give you, this is an API I'm going to use. So this particular API request will give you the country name and country codes. So alpha 2 code and alpha 3 code. So both the country codes will be written by this API. And whichever country we pass as a path parameter, that particular country data will be displayed. So I have pass here IN as a keyword. So it is matching with exactly this one. So this data is displayed here. This is our response. Now I'm going to use this particular API request. Now go to your Eclipse and specify that in the get section. So in the get command. So this particular method will perform the get request, and after getting the request, inside the then section, I will do the validations. So as usual, I will check the status code. So I'll say status code should be 200 because it should be successful. And along with this, I will also say .log of .all. Okay, so this will exactly give you the detailed information about the response. So now when I say semicolon here, so once a semicolon, this is the last statement, so that I need to end with the semicolon. So it is exactly the same as the first example, but I have just changed the API. So now the status code should be 200, and along with this, I also printed all the logs in my console window by using log.all method. Now let us execute this test case. And if you want to execute this test method, we must specify the test annotation. And the first test method I given priority is equal to 0. So here I'll providing the priority is equal to 2. Okay. So now let us execute my test case 2. So this is test logging, right? So let's execute run as, and just I'm disabling this one for the first test method log.all. Okay, so I'll put the semicolon here because I don't want to display any logs for the first test method. So I'm just enabling this for second test method for test logging. Now let's execute this code. Now both the test will execute, but the second test, it will give you the all the log messages. So let's run as test-ng test. So once it is executed, now we can see here the first test method is started. Now it is passed. So status code, test status code is passed, and test logging is also passed. But when you see the response here, and this response we got it from the second test. So when you see here 200 is my response code, and here this is a response body, we got it. Right, so here it is saying the country found matching code is India, name is India, alpha 2 code is IN, alpha 3 code is IND. So my test logging is also passed. So this is how we can capture the complete response from the request by using test.log, so log.all command. So this is how we can get the log response from the JSON response. So now I'm going to show you how to verify the single content in the response body. Sometimes some API will give you response. Now I need to validate something which is present on the response body or not. So how we can do that? Now I will show you one more example how we can verify the single content in the response body. Now the third example, verifying single content in the response body. So here again I'm taking the same request, right? So I'm just getting the same thing. I'm just copying the same code, or I can copy the entire thing, the complete test method, and here I'm testing the single content, test single content. So I'll just priority is equal to 3. So now here again the given session, so when section, and the same API request I'm sending here also, and then here I'm verifying the status code. But here the main intention is not for logging all these things. I want to verify something present in the response. Okay, so for example, okay, so when I send this particular request in the browser, what we are getting this particular response. Now I want to verify exactly the name value is India or not. So I want to exactly verify the name value is India. So how we can verify that? So if you see this particular JSON format of response, and here there is a hierarchy, it is exactly following some hierarchy. Inside that REST response, there are multiple tags are this: messages, results. Under results, again, we have a name, alpha2 code and alpha3 code. So if you want to get this name, how we need to navigate? First, we need to go to REST response. Inside this result, inside this name is there. So these are the attributes. Now we need to write a JSON path to capture this value. So how to capture? So I want to verify only the one particular field and their value is right or wrong. Now go to your Eclipse along with the status code. Now I want to verify the body of the response. So here there is a new method which we need to use, dot body. Now inside this we need to add the first argument, that is JSON path. So exactly where our element is present. So here name value is India. So we need to capture this one. So how we can get the value of the name? So we need to write the JSON path. And if it is a simple JSON, so we can easily write our JSON path. So sometimes you will see the complex JSON. So in that case, writing the JSON path will be little bit complex. So to simplify that, what I can suggest you is, so there is a small plugin that is available, JSON Path Finder. So this is the another plugin which is available for Chrome browser. So this is JSON Path Finder. Just to search for this JSON Path Finder for Chrome. So this will exactly, when you specify the attribute name, it will give you the JSON path. So when you just go here, JSON Path Finder, now here this is just a Chrome extension which we need to add. So which is already added to my Chrome extensions, Chrome browser, so that it is giving remove from Chrome. So in your case, it will give you add to Chrome. So once we added this particular extension to the Chrome browser, then you will see this particular small icon here, the question mark, right? And when you click on this, it will open one more tab and this will give you this particular window. So now whatever the response we capture, just copy this response inside this window. Now here select the JSON path option, which value we want to get it here, name field value we need to get. So just type here name, just click on the submit. Now it will give you exactly JSON path. So this is the exact path which we need to use in our code. So when I pass this particular JSON path, this will return this particular value. So if you have a complex JSON, so you can make use of this particular extension to get the JSON paths. So now I'm going to use the same JSON path inside my code. So here this is my JSON path, because here the name is present. Inside the REST response tag, inside the result node, inside the name is attribute is there. So here what is the value I'm expecting here, that we need to specify. So here I'm expecting India. So we need to write one more method, equal to. So this method will verify value is exactly the same or not. So this is my country name. Now here, this is my JSON path. So REST response dot result dot name, and whatever value we are getting from this is equal to this one or not. We'll verify. If both are same, my condition will pass, otherwise it will fail, right? So this is how we need to verify the single content from response body. So if you have a complex JSON, so we need to make use of this particular extension, JSON Path Finder. Okay, so now let us execute this particular code. So I already have two test cases, 1 and 2. Now this is my third test, single content, right? So let me execute this. Right click, and I think I haven't changed. So this is 1, 2, and this is priority 3. So now I'm executing all the tests, but priority 3 will be focused. So now run as test-ng test. So in the third test, we verified the body of the response. Now it is executed first method, second method, and third method. And now you can see test single content is also passed. So test single content is also passed. So this is how we can verify the single content in the response body. So we need to specify the exactly JSON path, and by using equal to method, we can verify that value which is written by the command by this JSON path is right or wrong. We can verify that. So additionally, we need to add dot body as a method. All right. So this is how we can verify the single content. Now I will show you how we can verify the multiple contents in the response body. So multiple contents in the response body. So sometimes some APIs will give you multiple contents. So now this time I'm going to use a different example. So again, I'm copying the same stuff. Okay, so this is the fourth one, verifying the multiple contents. Verifying multiple contents in a response body. So testing, I will say multiple contents. So again, given section, and inside the when section and the same API. So I'm just changing this API URL, guys. So if I send this URL in my browser, it is giving specific country code and all the details, right? So when I send all as a parameter, all as a path parameter, then it will give you information about all the countries. So somehow this request is not correct. Let me write it correctly. Country slash get slash, we should remove this one. Okay, now all. So when I send this request, and this will give you a lot of countries. So every REST response contains a country name, alpha2 code and alpha3 code. And again, country name, alpha2 code and alpha3 code. So there is huge information which is written by this particular API request. So now in this particular request or response, I'm going to verify multiple contents. So means here, the first node name is Afghanistan, and the second node name is Land Island, and third node name is Albania. So I want to verify some of the names, not only single field, I want to verify the multiple names, okay, from this particular response. So how we can do that? So let me just copy this particular API, and I'm just replacing with this. That's the only change. And status code, I'm verifying 200, or this is optional. If you don't want to verify, you can just remove this. Now inside the body, this time I want to verify the multiple contents, not a single content. Now for every request, suppose if we say the REST response, right? This is a huge REST response I have. From every result, so here result is there here, and in the result we have name alpha2 code, alpha3 code, again name alpha2 code, alpha3 code. So inside the result, there are three fields are repeatedly coming here, right? So now what I want to do is, in the REST response, in the result, I want to verify the multiple names are right or wrong. So how we can write the JSON path? So here the same JSON path I'm using, REST response.result.name. Suppose if you want to verify some other field, let's say alpha2 code, then you can specify that also. So this time I'm verifying the name field in each and every result. So I'll say name here, dot, this is a JSON path, exactly same. Now this time we have to specify the multiple values. So the name contains a multiple values. So here it is Afghanistan, here Land Islands, here Albania, here Algeria. So there are different country names are repeating. So there, right? So I want to verify multiple contents this time. So how we can specify is, so this time I will use another method called has items. So this is another method. So in this particular method, I can specify what are all values I'm expecting to be there in the response. So the first value I'm expecting to be India. So has next. So India, in this particular response, somewhere name value should be India. So when I search here, okay, India. So here it is. So in the name value, India should be there somewhere in the response. And similarly, I will also give you some other country. So in the name field, I am expecting Australia. So this is another value should be there in my response. And similarly, United States of America. So for example, I'm putting United States of America. So there's another value should be there in my response. You can add any number of values like this. So by separating comma, you can add any number of values. So let me just close this window. So this is the last line, right? So now you can see here. So dot body response rest response dot result dot name. This is the JSON path exactly. Name I'm verifying. Name should contain the India, Australia, United States. We can have any number of values like list of values. So here we are verifying the multiple contents. So the same name field we are verifying inside the multiple results. Okay. So if you want to go for single value verification, just go and use equal to method. But your request should give you single data as a response. But this time, this particular request will give you many names, right? So that's the reason we have specified multiple values here. So now when I execute this particular code, it will verify the contents, multiple contents from the response body. Now let us execute this particular code. So we already saved 3 here. I'm just making it as a 4. So this is my 4th test. Now let us execute my test case. Test multiple contents. So right click, run as test-ng test. So once we have executed, now it is started executing all the tests. First it will execute whatever test we have done earlier. Test status code, test logging, test single content, and now finally it is executed test multiple contents. So this test is passed. Test multiple contents, test is passed. Right, so this is how we can verify the multiple contents by using has items method. If you want to verify single content, equal to. You want to verify multiple contents, has items. Here we can separate multiple values by separating comma. So this is how we can verify the multiple contents in the response body. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the last option, how to set parameters and headers to the request. So when I send some request, we can also send parameters and headers along with the request. So how we can do that? So the next item is setting parameters and headers to the request. So here I'm going to create one more test case. So this time, again, I'm using the same API. This is the API I'm going to use. So here, let me just copy the same code. And from here, so this is your test case, test method 5. And here I'm verifying the test params and headers. Parameters, let's say params and headers. Params and headers. So here given, so here we need to pass a prerequisite, guys, because when I send your request, if you want to pass parameters and header, they are the prerequisites. So those prerequisites should be part of given session. So how we can pass the parameters and headers? So to pass the parameters, we need to add a params method, param method. So here we need to pass, So param method will accept a key and value pair. So I'll just say param. So inside the param method, we need to add the first value, that is your key, and the second value, that is your value. So here you have to say some key and the value. So this will go along with your request. So for example, here I'm just say my name. Okay, so my value, I'm giving some value here. So this particular request will go along as part of this particular parameter. And also I can set a header part. So if I want to send a header also as part of request, I can say dot header. And now here I can specify the, again, key and a value pair. So header name. So for example, my header, some name you have to give. And here I'm specifying something, let's say Indian, something like this. So you can pass parameters and headers along with your request. So to do that, we need to specify dot param and dot header tags or methods inside the given session, because they are the prerequisites. So param and header, you can add any number of parameters and also headers. Now let me just execute this particular code. And here I no need to verify anybody, just I want to just log all. So I'll say dot log dot all. So this will give you complete response, right? So now let us execute this. So the same request API, I'm going to use it. So now when I execute this, run as test-ng test. So test params and headers. So it will send the same request, get request, and along with the params and headers. Okay. So now finally you can see here, this is a method which is test params and headers. Okay. So when I send this request, I have sent you headers and params. So this is how we can also set params and headers along with your get request. So to do that, we need to use param is a method, dot header is a method. These two methods comes under given session. Okay. So this is how we can set the params and headers. So if you don't have any prerequisites, given section is optional. Given section is optional. You can just remove the given keyword and directly start with the when keyword. So in that particular case, we need to just remove the dot, because the first keyword, whichever is started, should not start with the dot. Okay. And rest of the keywords should start with the dot. So this is how we can just verify the basic things, guys. Basic validations on JSON response. So whatever validation we have done here, everything is a JSON format of response. So in the next video, I will show you how we can perform the same kind of validations on XML response. XML type of response. Okay, so that's all for this video, guys. So thanks for watching.